Howdy class, here's a quick primer on the dot split method. What this will let us do is allow the user to enter two separate variables on the same line of input rather than hitting return each time. So what this would change would be you could really kind of accelerate data entry from the console by having the user just simply enter their values separated by spaces. Now, here's an example, and I'll show a couple ways to do this to make sure that it works properly. Now, here's some code, and what we're going to do is I'm going to have them enter two first names separated by a space. First, let me run it, and I'm going to enter Joe and Jane, and we get those properly entered, and then we get them properly output here in line 4 with that print statement. Now here in line 3, this is where the dot split method is going to come into play. We remember that we can have the input statement give us two things returned, and then we can assign those over on this side to name 1 and name 2. Now, normally, if we had just done this, name 1 here, and I'm just going to do that. Oops. If we do one name, we can do that pretty easily. But we can make it with 2. Oh, let me fix that again. There we go. One name's pretty easy. We can just get that output. But to do 2 names, well, we can just do name 1 over here and name 2. And whatever those get input will be assigned to both of those. And then we add the dot split method. What this does is it takes the entire string of data that was input, including name 1 and the space and name 2, and it inputs that all in one string. And what dot split does then is it splits up that string based on the space character. So that should be kind of an indicator right away that, well, if you're entering strings and if your string has certain spaces in it, then this dot split method isn't going to work. We'll have to do a separate delimiter for that other than the space, but normally the space is the delimiter. Now, this is going to really come in handy when we want to talk about numbers. So let's first do integers. I'm going to change this code here a little bit. We'll do int 1 and int 2. And then we'll print out int 1 and int 2 here. Just like that. So here we're asked to enter a couple of integers separated by a space, and there it is, 45 and 56. Now, this gives the appearance that it worked, but it didn't. The reason is we have to remember that the input statement only returns strings. Now, we have not converted these numbers here to, we haven't converted this string to integers yet. So if we tried, say, to print out int 1 plus 10 and int 2 plus 10, we get an error. And that's because, well, int right now is a string, and you can't add an integer literal to a string. So we're still kind of missing the part here where we convert these to integers. So we can do that super easy like this. Int 1 equals int 1. Where we're going to cast both of these together. And you can see now that this instruction in the print statement to add those 10 literals to the variables, now it works, and we didn't get an error. So this is going to be the part to follow here. Receive the input first, store it as a string, and then just go and convert it to an integer from there. Same thing, just change it to floats. If we were going to do floats, you can change it to Booleans, whatever we need to do. Okay, here's some more code that's going to show, well, how can we split this input string that's going to have multiple tokens in it? How can we split that using a character other than the space character? And that's super easy. All we do to the dot split method is we provide the new character that's going to be the delimiter. And of course, a delimiter is the character that's going to separate the data elements. So here I've got the same thing, enter two names separated by an asterisk. Name one, name two is going to be our input and our split function. Of course, we don't need to convert these to strings because they're already strings. Input always returns a string. And then we will just run or print both of those. So here I'm going to print out or enter a couple of names. There's President Kennedy. And then let's put an asterisk in. And then there's President Truman. And sure enough, okay, these were successfully output. So that's showing that the string variables were correctly parsed into two separate tokens separated by that asterisk. And then both of those are assigned to name one and name two. So I hope this helps, and I'll post this sample code to Canvas today.